Society Matters.
Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Carin, and I'm here with Sami, and we're here on All About the Children. This podcast is a production of the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center of Nassau County. And on today's episode of All About the Children, we have Jeff Schoep. We're going to get to who our guest is, and today's conversation is going to focus on human beings and about how children become shaped by pain, trauma, fear, loneliness, ideology, belonging, and connection, and what happens when young people go searching for identity and meaning in unhealthy places. As an educator and parent, I've watched the way children have dramatically changed over the last 25 years, more digitally connected than ever, yet many have never felt more emotionally disconnected. Kids today are constantly being influenced by social media, algorithms, online communities, outrage, loneliness, fear, and division. And when children don't feel seen, grounded, or guided in healthy ways, they find something or someone to step in. Our guests today really understand that reality from two radically different life experiences. Sami Steigmann, who's a Holocaust survivor, educator, motivational speaker, and actor, whose life story is truly extraordinary. As a child, Sami survived Nazi persecution and medical experimentation. After the war, he endured homelessness, profound hardship, and at one point attempted to take his own life. And yet somehow Sami chose life. He chose hope, he chose meaning. And today he dedicates his life to speaking to young people around the world about resilience, compassion, human dignity, and the importance of becoming an upstander. Sami also appears in Eleanor the Great, continuing his mission, educating future generations through storytelling and human connection. And then we have Jeff Schoep, who was the longtime leader of one of the largest neo-Nazi organizations in the United States, a movement rooted in hatred, Jew hatred, anti-Semitism, racial supremacy, and division. After spending more than 2 decades inside that world, Jeff left extremism behind and completely transformed his life. Today, Jeff works to prevent radicalization and help people leave hate groups, build trust and connection through dialogue and understanding. And he's the author of American Nazi, From Hate to Humanity, and he also has a nonprofit, Beyond Barriers. What connects both of these men today is not their pasts, but their belief that human connection may be the one and most important protections that we can give our children. And they also have the same hairstyle. So I want to introduce both of you. I'd love for both of you to give a little intro of yourselves, because I want you to say something that I didn't say, if that's all right. And then we'll get into some questions.
Thanks for having me on the program, Carin. So I'm Jeff Schoep, and I come from a pretty dark background. I spent 27 years involved in neo-Nazi movement, and in 2019 I broke away from that life, and today I dedicate my life and time to peace building, to helping people disengage from extremist groups of all kinds, whether that's far right, far left, religious extremism, cults, gangs, work on all these different things, and try to bring people together in our shared humanity. And I also speak around the country and around the world as well, particularly at schools is a big part of the work that I do, and I do a lot of that engagement with the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and as part of their combat hate program, and with the mobile museums of tolerance around the country, to speak to young people about not getting involved in any kind of extremist thinking, and being an upstander in their community rather than a bystander.
I love that. I'll tell you what he said after, but I do want to also mention that my brother's boyfriend actually heard you speak at his organization, I think last week at GLAD. I think you did a podcast with them, or a Zoom or some sort of. So you also you speak at these other organizations also, I feel like, and you share a lot of, right, exactly. And I love that. And I feel like what you said about disengaging from extremism, it doesn't make a difference like what side you're on. It's just extremism, which is, I think, yes. So Sami, tell a little bit about yourself. Give us something that we don't know already.
Okay, well, I'm very happy here, Jeff. Good to see you. I would like sometimes in the future, to have a conversation on air, but basically to interview each other. I know almost nothing about you, and we can do it if it goes well. Also, to do it in different schools where you go, where I go. It's because it's very important for young people to see both sides, okay, not just one, and to learn about critical thinking. One thing that I just want to add is the fact I believe this year I got probably one of the highest accolades that I personally could get. I don't know if you know, but I am also an Israeli. I served in the Israeli Air Force, 1962, 1965. And when we went on the March of the Living, visiting Poland and Israel, in Poland, at the most infamous death camp, Auschwitz-Birkenau, I was honored to light the seventh torch. 6 torches for the 6 million victims, and the 7th one for the rebirth of Israel. And I also had the opportunity to say a few words, and that for me, as an Israeli, as a Holocaust survivor, is probably one of the highest accolades I ever got.
Yeah, I got to watch that live. That was really cool view. It would have been fun to be on that march. Maybe one day you and I, Jeff, will join everybody on that march. You'll bring us on the march with you? The March of the Living?
I will go every year.
Perfect. Good.
Okay.
And I want to come with you.
Okay.
And you know what? I like that idea of you two taking this on a tour. And we'll start at my synagogue in Queens. I'm going to have the two of you come. I actually spoke to the rabbi and someone from one of our local council members' office who's going to get in touch with you this week. And that's how I met you originally, through the Simon Wiesenthal. So kudos and good for, that was a...
By the way, you're working with Simon Wiesenthal?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Because they're not using me for whatever reason. It's irrelevant. However, they had here a museum in New York, and I was one of the tour guides.
Well, maybe we'll get you back there, Sami.
They don't have here a physical.
We'll figure it out. We'll make something happen.
In LA, they have the Museum of Tolerance in LA. They do, and then otherwise, it's the mobile museums now where they have buses that go to schools all around. They have them in New York because I was just there this week, and the bus was at a school there as well. But and so we bring with the mobile museums, the buses go to the schools and bring the museum to the youth.
Could you talk a little bit about that program? I'm curious because as a parent in New York City public schools, this is not something that's really like publicized or talked about much, but it's offered. But I'm wondering, why are we not making this more accessible to everybody and spreading it? Right? Like, let everybody come. We don't need 30,000 kids. There are 1 million children in New York City, and hate is spreading like wildfire. Why doesn't everybody come, and why are you two not at every school? This is what I'm wondering.
Well, we're working on it. But as far as I can't speak on behalf of Wiesenthal, but I do know that the projects are expanding and they are trying to get more buses out there and get them into more schools. But I agree with you. I think there should be a lot more publicity around it. I would like to see more news outlets covering this sort of thing. And I definitely would like to be speaking at more schools to reach more people, and doing that with Sami would be an incredible an honor and as well to reach these young people. And I tell you, and Sami probably has the same experience, but I'd like to hear from him as well. But when I speak at these schools, you could hear a pin drop. Like every child is tuned in to those talks, and it resonates. And the teachers say, "Wow, I wish they were so quiet when I was teaching." Like that's some of the feedback I get. So I think it's incredibly important, and we can be doing more. But we're doing what we can right now, and I think that's important as well.
I'm just going to tell Sami a little bit about what you said. He agrees a lot about what you said. He said something about news outlets. No, the media, what you're right about. The media, we need the media to help us. That's exactly what he said, because more outlets need to be there in order to spread these messages, right?
Well, I can add to it if you want to.
Say something about that.
Okay. There was a big outcry because I was denied by a principal of a school in Brooklyn.
Did you hear about
447.
this? You may not have heard about this, Jeff.
Okay, and without talking to me, we are free to say what we want to say. But in public schools, I never go into politics. But kids on that particular school use fear going to schools. That's not political. When she looked at my PowerPoint, which I don't use, okay, when I go to schools, she saw behind it, she saw the Israeli flag. Why would I deny who I am? And she felt that was political and that I am not fit, okay, to speak in a public school, although I have spoken since 2008. In as many schools, I can't even count the numbers. Okay, so she made that particular judgment, so there was a big outcry. And the media was involved. Without the media, I would have never be given a chance to address the students. And when I go to schools, I always talk about Jewish people, okay, because we are not united. We do not speak with one voice. So I say we have to do, and take an example from Martin Luther King Jr. He marched nationwide, brought with them different ethnic groups. The Jews were actually the first group of people that marched with him. But most importantly, he brought the media. And because of him and because of the media, okay, many groundbreaking legislations have been established. In my particular case, okay, it's also a groundbreaking decision. Okay, it's not a legislation, it's a decision. I'm the beneficiary of it, and it's a real win for the Holocaust survivors and for the Jewish people. We will not be denied to speak, and at the same time, if somebody will try to do the same thing, this is a groundbreaking decision because they can take an example from New York and make sure that they will not be denied.
But this is, I have to just jump in for a second because I have to also give you one other piece of this puzzle. And the night that I heard or learned about who you were was because of this story and this middle school situation that happened. I was at an event listening to an IDF soldier speak, in fact. And then a few people from one of these small grassroots that everyone's, kind of working on started talking about this Holocaust survivor story. So as I started to dig a little more, it turns out that the art teacher there uses, or I shouldn't say it turns out, allegedly, right? Everybody uses language. Allegedly, the artwork that is being used by the art teacher there is connected to the mayor's office somehow because it happens to be the artwork of the wife, okay, of the mayor. Now, to me, that's a little political and politically charged, but also what bothers me most about it, you being denied, is the one-sidedness. So to me, that's like what you said earlier, extremism, right? A one-sided, like a full, and it doesn't have to make a difference what side you're on, but I'm curious to know, like when you hear this word, extremism, right? We think that often that hatred comes first, right? But as we know, young children are not born to hate. They are a product of their environment. So we can't fault the children. And underneath most of the radicalization, right, and I'm sure you can speak to that, Jeff, what is it you think that these young people are actually searching for emotionally? Because Sami and I had a conversation in the car about how everybody's getting paid. So there's an initiative because there's some monetary, gain. And I know that with the movement, there's always money. There's always money, right? Obviously, people don't do it because, let me just do it for the niceness of my, right? But like, what's happening under the surface that all these kids are so crazy?
Hate, for one, is like a byproduct. Hate comes from fear. It's from things we don't understand. But extremism in general, and the reason why a lot of people are attracted to it, or a lot of young people are pulled to it, is in a lot of ways these type of organizations, and I'm going to generalize this as well. This is not just the neo-Nazi movement. Like all extremist movements have a lot of commonalities. Now their politics are all over the place, but the psychological holds and the way they operate, the way they hold people in place, very, very cult-like, very much the same across all different genres of extremism. And that was something that surprised me when I first left the movement, because I assumed, that the extreme, like neo-Nazi movement was very unique in that sense. But after meeting former Al-Qaeda fighters, former ISIS fighters, former Antifa from the far left, and listening to these and former gang members and cult members, hearing their stories and hearing, how those organizations operated, there was so many similarities that it was almost mind-blowing at the time. But I can tell you that a lot of them that are seeking these groups out, they provide a sense of belonging. Now, it's not a good sense of belonging, but this is what they do. They provide a sense of belonging, brotherhood. A lot of them operate like family units. They give a person a sense of purpose and mission. In some cases, to your point about financial motivations, I mean, in some aspects that's true and accurate. But I would say, in my experience, most of the people who were there were mission driven, purpose driven. And again, I'm not excusing that, but there wasn't a financial motivation for most of the people that were involved in the organization I was in, because the organization wasn't paying people. So it was, they were there because they believed in that cause, or they were searching for that sense of purpose or belonging. So I think from a societal level, the best way to counter that is to provide a counterculture for it, a counterculture of peace, a counterculture of belonging. And these politics, back to Sami's point as well, as how they were calling his presentation political. I've run into that as well. I haven't actually had anything that I'm aware of canceled, but that has come up where people are concerned that I don't know if it's why they think it or anything like that, because same as with my talks, just as with Sami's, we don't insert politics into those. That's not appropriate in a school setting, and that's not something that we do. We're not pushing one side or another. But I know there's people that do that, but that's something that absolutely we're trying to bring people together. Politics in a lot of ways can be very polarizing, and that's just not, of course we all have our own political opinions, but that's not the appropriate setting as schools to be doing that. So it's ironic and interesting that there's pushback on that. It's sad too.
Yeah, no, it's been an interesting shift. I mean, someone who's worked as an educator for about 25 years, it wasn't even like, and I have to be honest, I was like living in my own space, right? Like we're living life, and my kids started coming home with homework, and it was very like one-sided and one way of thinking. And I started to question, like, why is this the content that my child is learning about when they don't know other basic things, or they're not focusing? And then as a parent leader, I got much more involved, and I'm horrified. I'm scared. And the first time you and I spoke, and I know we had like some really crazy conversations, but you said to me, like, you're seeing the movement. Like, it's a very similar kind of mentality, like taking root, and it's scary. So thank you so much to Jeff and Sami. This was a great part one. We're definitely going to continue with part two. Thank you for tuning into this episode of It's All About the Children on hmTv. And I always appreciate my guests, Sami and Jeff. Thank you for sharing some insight.